What's up, everybody? This is your host, Robert Carroll, joined by my co-host, Jamel Owens.
What's going on, everybody?
And Brian Carey.
How are you guys today?
And welcome to the Howling Podcast.
Alright, you guys. As you know, earlier this week, Microsoft held an event up in DC, revealing the brand new Xbox One. How do you guys feel about the show? Thoughts? Complaints? Praises?
I like the show overall. I like seeing new tech all the time, but that's just me. But after the hype gone down a little bit, I like the graphics. I like what I'm looking at. But like I said, I need to see gameplay. This is supposed to be an Xbox. It's supposed to be games first, casual stuff second.
I agree. After all the smoke cleared, there really wasn't much of the gaming that was showed. It was all about the better media system that they created. So in that vein, I was a little disappointed with them.
Yeah, you guys know it perfectly. We got caught up in the hype of the moment. Now that the hype has died down, it's been a couple of days. You look back on it, we didn't see our first game until halfway through the show,
It's really the end.
Really till the end. And with all due respect, it's hard to get excited about Madden. If we're dropping a brand new console, we need brand new ideas, It's hard to get excited about Madden and FIFA and NBA Live, Forza. Beautiful games. The trailers look absolutely great, they were absolutely gorgeous. There's really no comparison. If those graphics truly were in real time, then there's really no comparison to what's going on now, as opposed to what's going on a year from now, But innovation, I saw practically none of it throughout the entire show.
But I did see a couple possibilities though. What interested me the most was the Kinect. What that thing can actually look and see and do. It's possibilities within that.
It's frightening almost, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, like I mentioned off camera, how much that thing can even reach your heartbeat. That's a bit much.
That's awfully invasive. All those rumors about not being able to watch Netflix if there's more than one or two people in the room sound awfully true. Now all of a sudden, don't they? If this device can read your heartbeat without you having to wear an apparatus,
yeah, we Fit got some trouble.
I know Zumba Fit is gonna go to a whole new level.
But most definitely. What about you, Jamel? What you think about the Kinect?
I think the Kinect is a considerable step forward from the previous version, like you both said, and like the announcer said, this is some rocket science level stuff here. It's not just just basically the most basic capture of your movements. Is getting joints, is getting heartbeats, is your muscles, is getting the little any kind of vibration that's going on. It's sensing everything. It's sensing your heartbeat.
Yeah,
it's capable of much more.
Yeah,
it's capable of much more this time around, definitely.
And
that's got to use it though.
I didn't even know you can sense a heartbeat without having a sensor or putting your hand on the some sort of sensor other than just an optical sensor.
Yeah. It's got a lot going for it, but it got to actually use this time. I ain't trying to play no Disneyland, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hello, all that stuff they had the last E3, like some Hello Kitties and Disneyland and Xbox Adventures or whatever the heck they got going on. I need more than that.
Well, at the event, they did show, the different uses for the Kinect, or I guess you could say different examples of it relaying motion. It had the UFC fighter or just a fighter in general going through his motions, doing his little uppercuts and warm-ups, and it was doing that. It was reading it very well. It was getting the muscles flexing and all of that. It was getting the joints correct. It was getting the joints of the rotation of your wrists and all that. And they had an example of a woman doing yoga, her elegance. It got all of that pretty well as well. So, it has definitely stepped it up. It has definitely stepped it up from the previous version.
I agree.
Definitely. If they can find a way to integrate it more into your gaming experience as opposed to, not everybody wants to play Zumba Fit. Don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome what Nintendo's done with the Wii. And, we're in this day and age now where it's really more about motion capture and, how I put it, full motion gaming. Yeah. I just hope that they can fully integrate it better into the system and not make it feel like a tacky add-on.
Right.
One more thing.
Yeah.
What's up with that? So, who's happy about that D-pad?
Look, okay. I've been complaining about this for years, and omnidirectional D-pad makes no sense. So, God bless you, Microsoft. You finally got that correct. The D-pad should be 4 distinct buttons, Alright.
Yeah, I agree.
Got that out of the way.
ergonomical and all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
thank you. Let's take ergonomics into consideration just a little bit. How do you Michael B. Jordan possibly being up for Johnny Storm in this Fantastic Four reboot? Jamel, go.
Well, you know, a lot of people, the purists, as you like to say, they're not going to be happy with this, but, you know, that happens with any movie you got out there. But, like Michael B. Jordan said, the characteristics of the Human Torch are his name, Johnny Storm. He's charismatic, and he's a playboy. So, with that being said, anybody could be Johnny Storm who has those qualities. So, I think this would be an interesting. It's going to be slightly controversial, yes, but that can also make it a success. That could be something, you know, that gets more people's attention. Some people want just a little bit different thing to catch their attention again, because, you know, sometimes you get tired of the same old run-of-the-mill thing. So you got to switch it up just a little bit. Not too crazy where you kind of lose the essence of who the character is, but just enough to, you know, give it a revamp.
I agree with that. I mean, a lot of people were pretty upset about that, but it does beg the question, is this something that we can change? I mean, Johnny Storm has been blonde-haired white guy for quite some time.
It's been about almost 60, 70 years or 50 years now.
Something like that. Some purists, you know, there's not many of them, but they have a very loud voice. But how much can you change the character? Like you mentioned before, you know, he still has the character personality intact, but do you lose that in some of the character if they change it up? Like, say for example, what if they made, you know, James Bond a black guy? What if they made Shaft a white guy? Do we keep the character? Do they still amplify the same themes? Does this depend on the situation? I mean, how far can we go? I mean, I know Power, of course, you know, they change him to a black guy, white guy, Irish guy, whatever. They do it all the time anyway. But, you know, where's the limit at? What y'all think?
Well, look, I've got to play devil's advocate here a little bit, you guys. Personally, I'm all for an African-American actor portraying Johnny Storm. I'd still definitely go see the movie. It's still worth checking out, in my opinion. But I've got to play devil's advocate here, all right? The purists do kind of have a point. Are we changing things because they need to be changed? Are we changing things because we want, you know, let's say a particular director, Josh Tranks, I'm not calling him out, or Fox the studio, are we changing things for the sake of changing things? Do we want to be controversial just to be controversial? Is Johnny Storm trying to be black so Fox can generate controversy and buzz? Or will it actually contribute to the story at all, you know? And changing his race, I feel, personally, what exactly does it contribute to the story, you know? I mean, yeah, as an African-American myself, it's nice to see some guys get some shine. It is what it is, you know? I'm not going to deny that.
There aren't very many African-American superheroes out
Not,
there.
I mean, Steel, you guys remember Steel with Shaq? Remember that?
Oh, I remember.
I mean,
Although when I was little, that was a jump when I was little.
yeah, I mean, when, you know, in the mid-90s when you're growing up, it was awesome. But, I mean, we had Spawn and we had Blade. And, I mean, when you look back, neither of those movies aged terribly well, you know? But I've got to play devil's advocate in the sense of, yeah, are we changing things just to change things? But Michael B. Jordan said it best himself. I mean, I wrote a post up on Gamehowl. I encourage you guys to check it out. But just like Jamel said, it's 2013. Things move on, or things change, you know? Johnny Storm, he's a charismatic playboy, all right? I mean, he doesn't have to be white to be a charismatic playboy. That's definitely true. Speaking of, is there anything else? As a matter of fact, is anything...
I just wanted to touch on, Rob said, what can we change, or how far is it to where it's a problem? And like you said, he alluded to Shaft. I think certain things, it is situational. Shaft, I mean, Shaft...
The Shaft is not, if I may intercede for a moment. Shaft's
best example.
Shaft's identity lies in the fact that he's black.
Right,
you know?
exactly. So, and that's where the rub lies. It's all dependent upon, is race really that pertinent to what the character is?
I suppose so.
No, I mean, like I said, maybe Spawn may be a better example because Spawn was what's Spawn's origin again?
He was black.
He was black, but I mean that wasn't
white played him.
That wasn't, how would I put it? That's not integral to the character itself.
Right.
You know, it's not integral at all to the character itself. Shaft's not so much.
But I want to touch on your point earlier. You were saying it could, you know, are we changing the color for, you know, controversial purposes? Are we changing, you know? But I was thinking, maybe is it just because they want, more black people to watch it. I mean, Fantastic Four is an all-white cast, technically. You know, we're talking about mid-60s here when they got the jump off. I mean, Fantastic Four, you know, in this day and age, 2013, we're a little bit more, you know, socially inclusive, you know, make sure we got our women, we got our, you know, minorities and stuff like that. Are we just touching on because it's, you know, the PC world that we live in, and we touch on just to touch on, get more of that, you know, minority to watch the movie?
I mean, let's take into consideration in the previous Fantastic Four movies, they cast Jessica Alba, who's Hispanic. And they gave her, you know, that terrible blonde hair and them terrible blue contacts. And I mean, for what reason? They brought her on for star power. That's really it. That was the only reason she was selected for that role. You know. That being said, I mean, I'm a cynic. You know, I believe that Hollywood makes these changes not to benefit the movie at all, just to generate controversy and generate buzz.
Generate cash.
To create cash. Exactly. They're not changing. That's just me. That's just the cynic in me speaking.
And I believe at the same time, like you said, in the 60s when this was all created, and these are just how the things were touted. Nowadays, you have more African American actors who, you know, when they were little, they were interested in superheroes, and they would love a chance to be one. Like we said, there aren't that many black superheroes out there. You got
Black Panther.
You got Goliath. I mean, you don't have that many.
Yeah.
Goliath.
But you do have Luke Cage.
Was anybody else offended that they had to change Goliath's name to Black Goliath and became a black guy? I'm sorry. As you were. In the comics.
And Luke Cage, which brings us to a lot of...
I'm sorry. Speaking of Luke Cage, word on the street is that The Rock is inching nearer and nearer this role. He's up for the role of Luke Cage. He's down with it, apparently. Kevin Feige is down with it. How do you guys feel about that? Anybody else that you'd rather roll with in particular? Jamel, we'll open with you.
Well, there really isn't anybody else. You know, some people said that maybe Terry Crews would have been a good role. But as we had a discussion yesterday, Terry Crews is pretty comedic. He's not going to give off... So far in his movies, he hasn't given off a terribly serious demeanor at all. And not to say that he couldn't do it, but The Rock has proven himself at times, and in movies, of course, in his extensive wrestling career, he can give off that serious. He can be very serious when it comes down to it. He has that serious face, and you know, he's a proven star. So he definitely has the build for it. You know, he's big, he's buff. He's got it. I mean, honestly, yeah. I don't see very many other people who could do it.
With all due respect, if you've seen The Rock's movie, The Walking Tall,
oh, yeah.
He's basically Luke Cage in that movie right there and then. He's just got a uniform on. That's really all it is. Rob, how do you feel?
I do think Terry Crews. I think he would be one of the best ones. I know you're talking about the comic relief. He's typically funny, so people might not see him as a serious character. Being a summer blockbuster, i.e., like something like The Avengers, you don't have to be. It's a comic movie. It's got to be more entertaining than opposed to serious, supposedly. So,
absolutely.
So funny. It would be too bad at times. I think if he was still alive, that guy, the Green Mile guy, I think he would have been good. Luke
Michael
Cage.
Clark Duncan.
I think he could have been Luke Cage. I can see him doing that.
Sure.
Probably trim up a little bit, but other than that,
a little like this. I mean, he was Kingpin, but hey, look. Chris Evans was Johnny Storm, and now he's Captain America. So I mean, hey.
Yeah, it could have been doable, but yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rock is definitely not a bad choice. You know,
he call him Obama.
He's definitely more fit for the role. I mean, considering who we have left to act him out. But
I mean, Tyrese has been attached to the role. Isaiah Mustafa has been attached to this role. But between those two and The Rock, between those three characters, I'd probably have to pick The Rock. He's got the physique. He actually looks like he could be a superhero. You're not gonna have to worry about filling up his suit.
Oh yeah.
With a padded muscle, because he's just gonna walk around. He's got the physique nailed.
Yeah, don't need no CG on that.
Don't need any CG enhancement on that one. Exactly.
And to all the listeners, how do you feel about The Rock being Luke Cage? Because you know what The Rock said. It doesn't matter what you think, you Rudy Pucciaboni, because he's going to bring this role, he's going to bring it home.
He's going to lay the smack down on
He's going to lay the smack down on your candy asses, everybody who thinks that he can't do it, and he's going to prove himself. I think if this really happens, if it comes to fruition, it's going to be good.
Look, Marvel Studios they have yet to lead anybody astray with their casting choices, okay? I mean, do you disagree?
Don Cheadle.
That's certainly debatable. I mean, I think
not that Terrence Howard was the best Rose either. Yeah. I think this is the closest they've gotten to actually picking something that makes sense as far as for the black actor, in my opinion.
I agree. Rob, anything?
I agree with that. You know, Marvel's there's some cheap people over there. They don't not want to pay nobody, why I think the Luke Cage,
Unless you're Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Well, Robert Downey Jr. is the best actor in the world, so
He is now. He's getting paid like one, I tell you that.
God, yeah, there's that.
So, but yeah, I do think their casting in Marvel is off and on at times. Probably because due to money, and there's no reason for that. But hey, it is what it is.
Precisely. All right, you guys. I want to talk to you about Star Trek Into Darkness. Okay, Rob, you and I saw the movie last week. How'd you feel about it?
I like the movie. Like I said again, once the hype died down, I kind of compare it to the other summer movies so far. Right now, it's only just the Iron Man out. I put it a little bit under Iron Man, partly just because I don't think they did enough with the story. At least we'll look at the con. Like I never saw the original Star Trek movie with Khan, and I know pretty much
The Wrath of Khan.
Right. I saw pretty much I wiki it, and I understand what the character is a little bit, but considered as a reboot, so to speak. I didn't get enough of the character other than that he just kicked ass in the streets. But other than that, I mean, I didn't get enough feel for the character. He kind of just came in, beat a couple people up and then went back out. But the action was definitely good. They definitely kept me entertained, definitely. But I know it was missing a couple things for me. It was just missing it was missing something. It had everything. It had all the pieces, but it didn't use them effectively.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, if I could just keep it short and sweet, I trust J.J. Abrams, and I'm glad that I did, in the sense that, he used every character in the movie well enough. How do I put it? No one felt particularly shortchanged. I mean, perhaps maybe Zoe Saldana, but that's a story for another day. Jamal, there's actually a question I'd like to pose to you. In Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, the original, just roll with me, okay? Khan was originally a Hispanic man. Ricardo Montalban played the character. Mm-hmm. All right, and I just want to know how you feel about perhaps them whitewashing the role, more or less. Well,
see, there it goes again. We bring it back to the same discussion we were having about Michael B. Jordan. Does it really matter? Is the race that integral to who the character is? I think maybe if they had a similar actor with the credentials or the acting ability of the Ricardo Montalban nowadays, if they had a better selection to choose from, maybe they would have. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure who could have been there.
Well, you know what? Actually, to be fair, they tried to get Benicio del Toro to play this role at first, but something happened. He dropped out. That's, if you want to research that more fully, feel free to. Benicio del Toro was supposed to play the role in the beginning. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch kind of killed the role for me. He was the highlight of the film in a lot of ways. He stole a lot of the scenes that he was in. That voice, man. What can I say?
All right. Well, another movie I want to touch up on was coming up is Superman. Since we all talking about movies already. Also the same thing. They also announced a couple of character changes. Jimmy Olsen is now Jenny Olsen. A lot of people also heated about that. Overall, I think it's a good movie though. But it's another thing where it's just coming up with these people are changing characters, and I'm just trying to feel about it. Like for Lawrence Fishburne, now he's playing Perry White. He's a good actor, no doubt about that. So I think personally, for movie purposes, even if you change the character's race, I think as long as you pick a better actor, I wouldn't just pick just an actor just to pick an actor, so to speak. Right?
Precisely.
Let's not hit. You don't have to hit. If you didn't have that many black people or any other minority or any particular race or gender in particular movie, as long as everybody's good, I get a sense that they really feel like the character. I would even take a person who's actually read these comics, actually has experience, kind of what these characters are, what they're supposed to embody a little bit. I would take that over anything.
It really makes him miss Heath Ledger, doesn't it? Because, you read the stories about how he locked himself up in a hotel room for a whole month, perfecting that art of the Joker, reading the novels that he did, preparing for that role. And, we all reap the benefits of that. We still do to this day,
Method acting is just being something that's a thing of the past nowadays.
It's unfortunate, too. That's how it's...
That's where you get your best acting, honestly. There are a lot of people who can just do, script acting and all that, just read the lines and sound good and all that. But the method acting, that's how you really, when you become the character it's not acting anymore.
Right.
You get the best possible portrayal you can of whatever character is supposed to be.
Precisely. I mean, at the end of the day, the bottom line is this: if the actor that's chosen, if the actor portrays the character and brings truth to the character on screen, race is irrelevant. Race is definitely irrelevant. You know, it's fun to talk about now. You know, when nothing's official with this Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm. But I mean, if he brings justice to the role, I mean, is he? We'll all probably remember this movie more fondly than we did the original Fantastic Four anyway. You know, in my opinion.
I agree.
As long as Galactus is actually Galactus and not a cloud, but that, you know, forgive
man.
me.
Ain't nobody want that.
Nope.
The looming cloud.
All right, so what we've seen so far between Iron Man and Superman was the two superhero movies for this summer. Which y'all think is gonna take the cake?
Man of Steel.
Think so?
I have really high. Look, I'm a DC fanboy. Robbie, give me a lot of crap for that. I have high hopes for this movie because if this one tanks DC, that Justice League flick is gonna. Wow.
Limbo.
That's gonna. Yeah.
Limbo.
It's gonna be even more impossible to get off the ground than it seems impossible now. It already seems impossible. If this movie tanks the way Green Lantern did, if it goes the way of Green Lantern, I don't even want to think about it. I can't. My DC fanboy heart can't take it.
I think Iron Man's gonna win out in terms of the numbers.
Oh well, I mean, it's already crossed the bill. You know, it's.
Well, Superman's a popular character though, but the only reason I say he won't cross that threshold only is because it's kind of like how the Hulk did. Hulk's a popular character, or was, so to speak. But you know, due to that movie that was Hulk, you know, back in 2003, I think
Ang Lee's Hulk. Yeah.
it did enough damage to the character where nobody was interested in seeing the sequel. I mean, the Man of Steel is a reboot of a reboot. So,
really, let's be fair. Exactly.
I mean, they pretty much fired everybody but the janitor on that one. So
Exactly. The Superman just has a lot of ground to cover before it can even. It's not really starting up from zero. It's starting up below zero.
Below zero, yes.
It has to make it to zero just to be okay. Let's check it out.
Yes.
Right now, it's like I got no reason to.
Absolutely. Warner Bros. Has zero goodwill with the fans right now after Superman returns in 2006.
So I think Superman is going to grow pretty much by the word of mouth of the people who just decide, let's check it out. And when they see it and they're like, okay, it's pretty good, and they can convince other people to go check it out. So it's going to have to grow by the word of mouth more so than just the trailers itself. Because the trailers, I can't lie, they look good, but I've been let down by a lot of Superman movies lately.
Yeah, a lot of all trailers look good. You know, that's what they're paid to do. That's what the editors are paid to do. Cut together awesome trailers. Exactly. Green Lantern trailers had everybody going crazy a few years back, and you know, we saw how that went.
I haven't even finished that movie.
But I do think overall, I mean, the Superman movie, once they make a trilogy, I'm assuming they will do, assuming this goes off pretty well. I think the trilogy might outdo Iron Man. I mean, Iron Man 3, of course, you know, had a good succession of movies 1 and 2. I mean, so he had a little bit of a steamroller.
Yes, he has a sizable fan base.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that the Avengers, this is Marvel. Oh, Iron Man 3 was Marvel's first movie fresh off the Avengers.
Right.
That installed fan base was higher than it ever was before.
Very true.
If we were seeing Iron Man 3 the first time directly off of Iron Man 2 and not the Avengers, that $1 billion, I don't think that's there.
Right.
I don't think that's there.
All right. Well, hopefully we can see in the future. Then by the end of the summer, we might be able to see something.
Shemel? We watched this anime the other day called Valvrave the other day.
Yes, we did.
I'd like you to comment on that quite a bit. We like anime a lot here at Gamehowl. We're gonna review our fair share of anime here, and the first one up is gonna be Valvrave the Liberator. Go.
Well, before we even get started into the discussion of Valvrave, it's very refreshing to run across this anime because we, are always on Netflix and Hulu looking for the next good anime to watch. And for the longest time, it's been a drought. Honestly, it's been a drought to find really an anime that you can see yourself really waiting for the next episode to come out. And this anime just came out in April, I believe it is. And it's written by the writer of Code Geass and also the writer and the character designer of The Gray Man. Now this anime here, you're gonna see remnants of both animes and very much so of Code Geass. Mr. Brian Carey seems to think that to some degree it's a direct ripoff, but I mean, hey, why not imitate greatness, right?
Fair enough. I can't argue that point. That's fair.
So with this anime, you're gonna get a lot of character depth. It's got some budget behind it. So the battle scenes are beautiful. Stunning visuals. You got awesome looking mechs, new styles of mechs that you haven't seen before. I mean, you can kind of liken them a little bit to the Gundam Wing, but in the same vein, it's a little bit different.
I miss Gundam Wing.
We all miss Gundam Wing. We all do. All the days, baby. Now, as I was saying, Valvrave is so far in the 6 episodes that have been released. I'm ready for episode 7.
As am I.
I'm ready for episode 7. They are really taking the time to... I'm not going to lie, it was hard to find that one character that you could identify with. Not so much identify with, that one character that you can say, yeah.
That stood out amongst the rest.
That's my character. You know, I like him.
Or her.
Or her, of course. We know, no discrimination here. But they are taking the time to develop each integral character of the story, and that is very appreciated.
Another new anime I actually talk about is The Devil is a Part-Timer. Rob, if you'd like to take the floor, it's also a brand new anime that just came out recently. Rob, if you'd like to take the floor,
right.
Please do.
Alright, Devil's a Part-Timer was also new animes came out recently. The mangas actually just came out in February. The manga just started. It's not too far ahead, as far as I understand. But the anime is really good, very entertaining, very funny. And I think got some good fight scenes. Definitely a good budget. I think that's one thing that's helping these anime stand out is the budget behind it. I mean, we live in an age where things gotta be pretty. Phones gotta be pretty. Movies gotta be pretty. Everything gotta be pretty. Otherwise, they ain't worth looking at. Video games as well.
Exactly.
So the budget definitely is a good way to start. I think they have pretty good writing. The characters, like I said, all entertained, very different. Because more toward they're not the shonen type of straight characters. They all just got their own weird quirks and whatnot. So
Exactly.
So I think that always helps, differentiate between all of them. So overall, I think it's a great anime. I like what I'm saying. Like I said, it's entertaining. I wouldn't say I won't put an anime of the year or nothing, but it's definitely something you can look at on the weekend. Chill out and watch some. Devil's a Part-Timer.
Right, definitely. And just to add to that, it is both comedic and also they do
Action-packed.
It's action packed. It's action packed. I mean, the very first episode, just to spoil a little bit, you start off with the fight scene.
It's
and you're
a
wondering,
rather
what
epic
does this
battle.
have to do? What does this have to do with part-time? And very quickly you see. I mean, the writers, they did a very good job also with the soundboard, the score of it, having the music and just the sounds of the anime directly relate to what's going on.
Very effective use of the score. Yes.
Very effective. Whether it be just the music cutting out or dialing up the suspense, where you have something suspenseful going on, they got the music going, then they cut with some comic relief a little bit, and the music's out, and then okay, let's resume back, and they put it right back, and so they're very effective use of that.
And of course, we can't let it ride without talking about the hottest new anime on the block, Attack on Titan. Now, if I may, I've been disillusioned with anime myself for quite a while. But this one right here, I don't even know where to begin. The character beats, the tragedy that permeates the story, right from the jump, it's incredible. It's heart-wrenching. It makes you feel. You really feel for these characters right away. They throw them in a situation, how do I put it?
It's very apocalyptic. Yeah.
Very apocalyptic, very dark.
Humankind is at risk of being demolished, of being extinguished.
I mean, the title speaks for itself. Basically, the premise: humanity lives in fear of these giants, these giant wild giants that come out. I said giant giants, didn't I?
Giant wild giants.
Humanity is. They live in fear of these massive titans. They come in, they're wild beasts. They don't think, obviously. They're no more clever or more intelligent than a wild beast. They come in, they eat human beings. People live in constant fear of these things. Humanity has erected walls to protect themselves from these massive titans, and it means nothing. The story is about this group of soldiers that defends humanity from these titans. And, well, I mean, the score, the character development, the character beats... A lot of my faith in the industry is being restored bit by bit with this one anime alone. I can't really say enough about it. We definitely implore you guys to check it out.
Most definitely. The anime, I think what this anime does a little bit better is it stays very close to what has been written. They even use some of the actual scenes is actually straight off the panel. Like, they keep to the source material real hard, which is something you don't always see in the anime adaptation of most mangas. They always kind of stray off just a little bit or add a little extra, either necessary or not. So I think it's one of the best manga to anime adaptations. So it's definitely worth checking out. A lot of action, good score, good music all around. It was also made by a very important person who wrote something very popular recently. I can't remember the name now. But either way, definitely worth checking out. Y'all can always look it up on the wikis and whatnot. We also can look at the Gamehowl as well. We're going to post on that as well. So always come and check us out on that.
Post will be coming on both Attack of the Titan and Devil is a Part-Timer. Look out for that. They will be gifted up too for you.
All right.
Shameless promotion, not a problem. Okay. All right, guys. We want to thank you for checking out the Howling Podcast. Once again, my name is Brian Carey. Also with me,
Jamel Owens
and Robert Carroll.
Make sure to check us out next week, you guys. Peace out.